All right, bettors, we're back here again. Joe the Fan here with Just Win Bet Speedy here with Shano Mac. Shano, we're going to cover the NFC West tonight. Not that much going on in the sports world. We have behind me the Dallas Wings that are hosting the Seattle Storm in the WNBA. We had the Queen of Baskets, or the Queen of Courts, basketball courts. Murph, give us a couple prop bets. So if you're interested in looking at that, guys, please look at our Twitter and Instagram page. Without any further ado, let's cover the NFC West. We'll go with AFC West. AFC West. Let's cover the champions, of course, of the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs. Here we have, before we begin, we have, of course, the preseason win total at 11.5, Shano. Over 11.5 is even money right now. The under is at minus 120, so that's very interesting.
Just without even diving into the schedule, when you get plus
Right.
money with the Chiefs, that tends to work out pretty good. But we'll see what it is after we start going through the schedule here for a little bit.
Exactly. You can see here, folks, the three preseason games, Arizona, Seattle, and Chicago. They cover those three preseason games. We go, of course, the first game, which will be Friday night, September the 5th, and it'll be in Brazil. They will be the away team taking on the Los Angeles Chargers, home against Philadelphia on a nationally televised game, at the New York Giants, which is on a Sunday night game. Another nationally televised game when they come home on September 28th at 4:25 CBS against the Baltimore Ravens, at the Jacksonville Jaguars on a Monday night, and that's going to be on October 6th. October 12th is home against the Detroit Lions again. Looks like that's a 1 o'clock game. Home with the Oakland Raiders, and 8:20 on October 19th. So they have their bye here in week 10 there, Chano. Home against on a Monday night on October 27th, when they host our Skins at the Buffalo Bills on November the 2nd, and that is a nationally televised game. So that's probably going to be a win for Buffalo right there, right? That's usually the trend. So we have a total of 9 games before the bye. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, what you just said with Buffalo, the last couple seasons, I feel like Buffalo's gotten them in the regular season, and then Kansas City shows up in the playoffs and beats them, right? So,
right.
Some things I've noticed off the bat off here, just like every year since they've had Patrick Mahomes, a ton of primetime games and a ton of nationally televised games, which makes sense.
Yep.
And then having Taylor Swift in the crowd always is going to boost them more, right? And then week 1 against the Chargers in Brazil, it's going to be hot in Brazil. First week of September, it's going to be like 100 degrees down there.
Yeah, hey, even if they play at 8 o'clock at night, doesn't mean that, I'm just saying. And yeah.
They got some tough games though that first 9 weeks. Like we said, Chargers like a lot of playoff teams from last year, right? So you have Chargers, right. Eagles, Ravens, Lions, Commanders, Bills. All those are all playoff teams from last year, and that's just in the first 9 weeks of the schedule.
Absolutely. After the bye, it looks like there's a little messed up on the graphics here, guys. So we apologize. The interns are still new; they're still getting it done. So anyway,
at the Broncos after the bye, I have.
Yeah, they have the Broncos after the bye, as you can see there, guys. So again, we apologize for any technical difficulties or graphics. We'll get on them. They're working on it. The Broncos, of course, at Milehouse Stadium on November 16th. We have home against the Colts, a 1 o'clock game on November 23rd. They play on Thanksgiving. That is interesting. Against the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to be traveling to Dallas to play the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. December 7th, Sunday night, will be home against the Texans, home against the Chargers, and a 1 o'clock game on December 14th. The 21st is at the Tennessee Titans. Again, we talked about this in one of our shorts there, Shano. They're not only playing on Thanksgiving, but they're also playing on Christmas. They host the Denver Broncos on a Thursday night game there. It'll be on Prime, and then The last game is at the Las Vegas Raiders to be
Yeah.
determined.
What's up with the NFL? I think that's 3 teams. They've done that too. The Lions, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs all playing on Thanksgiving and on Christmas. I mean, that sucks. That sucks for them and their family. I mean, but you're getting paid millions of dollars. There could be worse things, right?
Right. What we can say about these about the AFC West, though, is we're dealing with 4 coaches, 3 of them with the bling. You know what I mean? The Super Bowl ring there, and one who's definitely has made an appearance. So with Jim Harbaugh with the San Francisco 49ers. You have Andy Reid, who's won multiple Super Bowl championships. We have now Pete Carroll, who is now the head coach at the Las Vegas Raiders, who's won a Super Bowl with the with the Seattle Seahawks, and then the Denver Broncos head coach Sean Payton, of course, won the New Orleans Saints only Super Bowl there for them.
Yeah, and the Broncos started looking pretty good last year. About mid-year through the season, Bo Nix started playing really well in that Sean Payton offense, and they started really moving the ball. So that's they're not going to be a slouch in this division. When it comes to the Chiefs for this second half of the schedule,
right?
That starting off that game at Denver is going to be tough. And last year, I felt like the Chiefs' game plan was their defense was really good last year, and they basically just said, "Hey, we're going to keep it close and let Patrick Mahomes win it for us at the end."
Absolutely, absolutely, and Mahomes was a little beat up, towards the end of the season, definitely in the playoffs. So let's see if they get back to their championship ways. So now we go into, of course.
Before we move on, what do you think? Over under the 11.5?
My prediction. I can see 12. I can see 12 and 5. I would take the over, and that's barely 12 and 5.
I think that is the perfect line Vegas set there. It's going to be 11 or 12. It's going to be one of those two. And like I said earlier, if you get the Chiefs at plus money for almost anything, I would take it. I would take the over. I think 12 and 5 is good for them.
And that line's going to move fast. But speaking of the Broncos, you brought that up. Let's talk about the Denver Broncos right now. And of course, here it is, our Denver Broncos. See, they did. See, I get on the interns and they right here live, and they look at that. They add the DraftKings logo. Look at that. That's pretty good. So this is what happened when I have to drop the hammer on these guys. Preseason for the Denver Broncos, San Francisco 49ers, the Arizona Cardinals, and the New Orleans Saints. And then they've got a late bye as well on week 12. So we'll cover the 11 games that they have here before the bye. So here we go, Shano. It is home against the Tennessee Titans, 4 o'clock on September 7th. September 14th, they go to Indianapolis. And then the next week, September 21st, at the Chargers. Home on a Monday night. This is September 29th against the Bengals. And then you have 2 away games. Pretty hard games here, because one of them is at the defending champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, on October 5th at 1 o'clock. Then they have to go to London. They travel there to face the New York Jets at 9:30 morning on October the 12th. But then, again, when I say difficult, they don't have that bye right after the London trip or overseas trip that the NFL sends them. So they come back home to face the New York Giants, then home against the Dallas Cowboys on a nationally televised game, at the Texans, and then 2 home games right before their bye. It is home against the Raiders and home against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders, will point out, is on a Thursday night. So it's the difficulty part here is what I see is they're playing the Jets in London on October 12th. They come back home, and that long flight back home, they host the Giants. Then they host the Cowboys the week after. But then you have that short week. It's that 4 days in between. They played that Sunday on November the 2nd against the Texans at Houston. And then home against the Raiders. That's one of their division games on a Thursday night. And then they host the Kansas City Chiefs 10 days later on a nationally televised game. And then you hit the bye. So your thoughts on this?
That's a tough stretch of games there, just because of the travel, like you said. And then once you get – the good thing about the travel going to London and coming back and playing Giants is you're playing the Jets and the Giants.
Right.
So that's the pros of that. But the cons of it is it's a lot of travel and no and no rest afterwards, no bye week afterwards. And then you have a pretty tough stretch of games, right? So you have the Cowboys, Texans, Raiders, I think are going to be better this year. And then the Chiefs, that's not a slouch schedule there for those games right leading up before their bye week. But yeah, that is tough. For them, I think they have to get some wins early here, especially week 1 and 2. They have like a gift here playing the number 1 overall seed quarterback in the week 1. I mean, that's what everybody wants because that guy Cam Ward just going to be getting his feet wet, and how much will he really have a grasp of the NFL at that point, right?
Sure. Yeah, I would say they win the first 2 games, and then after that, San Diego and the Bengals are going to be tough, especially on a Monday night. Then you got the champs, 3-3 for those first 6 games, maybe 3 or maybe 4-3 in those first 7 games, and then you have that long stretch of home against Dallas, at Texans, home against the Raiders, and home against Kansas City. That might go 1-3. So my prediction here, right off the bat, of 11 games, I'm looking at 5-6.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, 5-6. Like I said, I got them beating the Titans, the Colts, Jets, Giants. That'd be 4, and I think they'll beat the Raiders at home on that Thursday night football game. So that gives you 5. So they could sneak another one here and there, but I would say 5-6 or 6-5 is what they're going to be after 11 weeks.
Before we go after the bye here, I just want to point out on the bottom right corner there, guys, you can see the preseason win. The total is at 9.5. It's over at -105 and under -115. So keep that in mind, Shano, as we finish the schedule here. We have 2 away games after the bye. They travel to Washington on a Sunday night game on November the 30th, and then they go at Oakland to finish that
Las Vegas.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me, Las Vegas. I keep calling them Oakland. I'm sorry. Just things just never change here. So Las Vegas Raiders at December 7th at 4:00, home against the Green Bay Packers on a nationally televised game. The December 21st will be hosting the Broncos will host the Jaguars, and then they play on Christmas against the Kansas City Chiefs, and that'll be on a Thursday night game. But at least it's better than not having, Christmas and Thanksgiving like the Kansas City Chiefs did. And at home against the Chargers to wrap up their schedule at home. So we thought 5-6, maybe 6-5. What are your thoughts on these last 6 games? Can they reach over 9.5?
I think they're going to go under here. I don't see them getting to 9. We said it was 9.5?
Yeah.
9, yeah, I don't see them getting to 10 wins.
I don't see them getting 10 wins.
I could see them getting to 9, but I would take the under 9.5.
Yeah, I see 8-9, 9-8. Sure, I don't see them getting 10 wins. Not at all. So,
what helps them after the buys? I mean, you're playing the Commanders, which are a good team. It was a playoff team last year, right?
Right.
But you have an extra week to prepare for them. And then after that, I think the Raiders will probably win in Las Vegas there. They're playing them in Las Vegas that time.
Right.
And then Packers are a good team. That's probably a loss for them. And then they'll win the Jaguars game. At Chiefs, they'll probably lose. And then they'll probably lose to the Chargers last week of the season. So that gets them at like 8 wins.
Yeah. I mean, they may squeak another wins here and there, but for you bettors out there, if you don't know, the 9.5 means that there's no way they can get a half. Well, technically they could with a draw, right? A tie. So, but that still would be a push if it landed at 8-1. So that would be the push there, or no, excuse me, 9-8-1.
It'd be 9-8-1, yeah.
No, 9-7-1. Excuse me, 9-7-1.
Yeah, 9-7-1.
9-7-1. You would get that push. So that means that based on DraftKings, this team has to win 10 games. I don't see it happening. I really don't.
Yeah, I would bet the under there for sure.
Let's move on to the Las Vegas Raiders. And here is the schedule for them. Their preseason, of course, those 3 games of Seattle, San Francisco, and the Cardinals. And they start, of course, on September the 7th, where they have to travel to New England. Before I forget. See, they updated the thing there. The DraftKings has them at the total at the total at 6.5, over 145, under it looks like plus 120. So DraftKings feels, or the market feels, that they can win 7 games. Let's see how they do this here. So again, week 1 at New England, home against the Chargers, at Washington. And that Charger game, that week 2, is going to be, this is very interesting. I don't know if Shano, you might have to do, some night work on that one, because I don't see me staying up for this. It's a 10 o'clock game, okay? Monday Night Football, because they do the doubleheader, as you know, okay? That's going to be rough. You might have to take over that game.
That's not going to be over till at least 1 in the morning. Right?
1 in the morning, exactly. Let's finish up the last 4 games right before the bye. They have a bye in week 8, folks. So September 28th, home against the Bears, at the Colts, home against the Tennessee Titans, and then at Kansas City. With that total at 6.5. Ooh.
Yeah.
One, two, maybe 2 and 4, 2 and 5.
I see 2 and 5 there with that first stretch. We talked about it earlier with our AFC East video. The Patriots, we both expect to be much better this year. I think the Raiders are going to improve, but I think it's going to take them a good half of the season for Pete Carroll to get his offense running and all that stuff. I think mostly with them. Pete Carroll loves to run the ball. Ashton Jeffrey, or what's his name? Ashton Genty. Sorry.
Yep.
The running back that is drafted from Boise, right?
Yeah,
he was a beast in college, and Pete Carroll loves running ball. So I'm looking for a lot of prop bets for him, and taking the over. We'll see how those go. But yeah, I say 2 and 5 in the first 7 there.
Yeah, maybe 3 and 4 if they could squeak one out there. I see Tennessee win there. Maybe the Colts, and maybe the Bears or New England, depending on what they do. So that probably be a win. So possibly 3 and 4 there. Let's move on with the remaining of the schedule for the Las Vegas Raiders. Home against the Jacksonville Jaguars, at the Broncos, and that's on a Thursday night there, Shana. So again, not that much rest. They've got, of course, November 2nd and then November 6th there. November 17th, a Monday Night Football. So it's back-to-back on the primetime games there. But at the Denver Broncos, so home against the Dallas Cowboys on Monday night. Home against the Cleveland Browns, at the Chargers, home against the Broncos, at the defending champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, on December 14th. And then you have the last 3 games, nationally televised, 4:25 on CBS. December 21st will be at the Houston Texans, home against the New York Giants, which we don't know what time that will start, but we do know a date there. That's December 27th. And then January 4th, again, we don't know the time, but it'll be home against the Kansas City Chiefs. Wow.
That's pretty tough stretch there too.
Yeah.
There's some winnable games in there as well for them, though. Jacksonville's a beatable team for them. I think the Browns are a beatable team for them. Giants are a beatable team for them. But outside of that, it's pretty tough for them. For the Vegas Raiders there.
Yeah, it's 6-11 based on what we discussed with the wins on New York, Cleveland, Jacksonville. We'll say Colts and Tennessee. That's 5, and maybe they beat either the Bears or New England.
You never know. They could always get that late game, Week 18, if Kansas City has the division wrapped up and there's nothing to play for. Never, right. You know that's always possible.
Right. Right. And maybe they split one of the Denver Bronco games, but or Charger games.
Yeah. Division games always go weird, but yeah. I got them at 6 wins.
Listen, in the perfect world, we want the Raiders to beat the Dallas Cowboys, but one can only hope. You never know. All right, let's move to our last team in the AFC West, which is the Los Angeles Chargers. We have 3 preseason game the Cardinals, Seattle Seahawks, and the Bears. Their total is at 7.5. Over is minus 135. The under, it's plus money 115. So that's something interesting to look out there and think about as we go through the schedule. They start off, of course, in Brazil. We talked about that before, where it's going to be hot. So they'll be the home team when they go to Brazil against the Kansas City Chiefs at 8 o'clock. At the the Las Vegas Raiders, and that's that early one. All right, so, and then they have home against the Denver Broncos. They have the September 28th is the New York Giants. Washington on a nationally televised game, and that'll be home for the Chargers. At the Miami Dolphins on October 12th. Home against the Colts on October 19th. Now, Shayna, they have a late bye here. They have a bye on the week 12. So let's cover the last 4 games here. They have home against Minnesota, at Tennessee, home against the Steelers, which will be on a Sunday night football, and then at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Keep in mind, 7.5 on the total. Your thoughts?
This just something that I'm just looking at their schedule. Something that just popped off to me. Every playoff team or every team that was in the playoffs last year that they're playing this year, they're all at home for them. I'm just looking, it's just weird how that's like a huge advantage for them. So
except the Colts. The Colts, on October 19th, they play them at home. But other than that, yeah, you're right.
I'm saying because they play the Commanders, but it's at home. They play Vikings. They were in the playoffs. That's at home. Steelers. They were in the playoffs. That's at home.
Yep.
Even after the bye, the two that they play the Eagles. That's at home. Texans. That's at home. That's 5 playoff teams at home. Every playoff team outside of their own division, like the Chiefs, they have at home. That's a big advantage. So they should try and rack up. Road games are always tougher, so they should be a little bit easier for them to grab some of those. But those first 11 games there, who knows what could happen in that one game against the Chiefs in Brazil? Right. It's going to be 1,000 degrees and Brazilian women are beautiful, so you never know. You never know who's going to be staying out late without the club. So
exactly. That would never happen to a Washington team.
I think the Raiders are tough, but I think that they're catching them at Vegas at a good time. So I think that's a win there. Week 2, I believe. I think they'll beat the Giants. I think the Dolphins they'll beat. The Vikings, that's an interesting game because Harbaugh and J.J. McCarthy might be facing each other. That's the old college coach and quarterback for Michigan, right?
Yep, the teacher and the student.
So that'll be a fun one to watch.
Yep.
I think they get Tennessee there, and I think they get Jacksonville there. Steelers, I think, is up in the air just based on their quarterback situation. But the Steelers still have a great defense. So that would be I think that's more of a coin flip right now in my eyes.
Absolutely. Let's finish the schedule here with the last 6 games. Home against the Las Vegas Raiders. Home against the defending champs. And that's going to be on a Monday night there, Shano, on December 8th against the Philadelphia Eagles, at the Kansas City Chiefs, at the Dallas Cowboys, and then, of course, home to be determined against the Houston Texans. And then they finish off at the Denver Broncos, which you never know what could happen. Do they get to that 8 wins?
So their bye week is later than most teams. Like I said, like it around that week 9, 10, 11. So it's not super late, but it is later. But I think it comes at a good time in the schedule because it Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Texans, that's a rough 4 games in a row. And having that bye pretty much right before that is little bit of a benefit for them too.
Yep.
And the over-under was, what'd you say, 7.5?
7.5.
I think I'd go over. I think they're going to get 8. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm looking at 8 and 9 myself. So it's at minus 135 now. If you guys are interested, jump on that quick because that thing will move.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go much higher than that, but I think they can get to 8.
Yeah, but in some books, FanDuel, usually in DraftKings, BetRivers, they allow you to bet an additional game. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go over 8.5.
Yeah.
So I think the Chargers can win 9 games. Okay?
I can see that.
So
and that probably gets you to plus money too, I'm guessing.
And that's definitely plus money. I believe it's at plus 110.
Yeah.
So shop around.
And say what you will about Harbaugh, but that man can coach, right?
Yeah.
He can coach, and everywhere he goes, he wins. Sure, he burns a ton of bridges and only stays there for 4 or 5 years because he drives everybody crazy after a while. But while he's there, he wins, right? So
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So that ends the AFC West. And again, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell, that notification. And Chano, we're almost at 250 subscribers on YouTube, so we appreciate that. What do we have
more each day? It's good.
Yeah. What do we have planned for our YouTubers? We talked about something. We're going to be adding more shorts.
Yeah, adding a bunch more shorts. Trying to get like at least one new one a day on there. So more content to come. We're always gonna be posting long videos as well. We feel like the shorts are a good way to like show your friends, spread the word, see if they're interested in listening to us, and if they can subscribe and support us, we'd love to have them.
Absolutely. All right, we'll sign off here, and then until next time, I'm Joe the Fan. That's Shane O'Mac, and again, don't forget to catch those tickets. We will be back, of course, next time to talk a little bit of hockey as we come to the Final Four. For the hockey as well as the NBA. The NBA has their Final Four. And then see what our predictions are going to be in the futures market. Those games start Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively. So check out the website and the website of your local book for, I think the first game, Chano, is what? The Florida Panthers at the Carolina Panthers, correct?
Yes, first game, Eastern Conference is tomorrow night, Tuesday, May 20th. And it's, Florida Panthers at the Carolina Hurricanes. And then the Western Conference puck drop is on Wednesday. And that is Oilers at Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars is the home team there. So.
Yeah. So check out your local betting books and see what you can come up with the best number. We're still waiting on some prop stuff, so we haven't really posted anything for hockey. But when it comes out, we'll definitely let you guys know on our social media pages. All right, we will definitely see you next time.